Yes, guys, it's your boy David at the Irish Shade, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, joined by Ireland's #2 Spurs fan, Matty Hayes, bringing you your predicted lineup and our score prediction for today's game. Once again, thanks very much for joining me, Matty. And also, I have to say, thanks very much for the intro. I absolutely love it. You're making my channel look professional, so I really do appreciate it. Thank you. How are you keeping?
No worries at all, David. Honestly, it's a pleasure to help you. Help me out on my channel as well. Yeah, but I'm good. Looking forward to this game on Sunday and hopefully some 3 points.
Yeah. Look, it's a big game. Like we said, we want to win to stay top of the league. But look, we won't waste any time. We'll get into the predicted lineup. Basically, we're going to go 4-3-3. That's our usual formation. So who would you start with in goals, Matty?
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. Of course, Lloris had his fitness issues, his injury doubts, but I think it's safe to say he'll be starting on goals for us on Sunday.
Yeah, 100%. The guy's had an amazing season so far. He hasn't put a foot wrong, and for me, it'd be him. Look, even if you see stories about him being sick and Hart is getting ready to play, don't believe it. Lloris turns out week in, week out, and he'll be out there. Moving on to right back. For me, it's going to be Serge Aurier. He was rested last night against Antwerp. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Aurier starts, and he deserves to start. He's again another player who's had a very good campaign. Do you agree, Matty?
Yeah, I agree. He's been outstanding. It took a bit of competition from Doherty to get him on his top form, but he's been our best right back this season. I think he could be the kind of better option out there to deal with the likes of Wilfried Zaha and Patrick Van Aanholt bombing forward as well. So I think for me, it's Aurier as well.
Yeah. We need his pace back there, really, because look, Palace are fast out wide, and like you said, if it is Wilfried Zaha and Van Aanholt bombing outside him, it's going to be a very, very tricky game. So we need his pace. So for me, he gets the nod over Doherty. But if Doherty does end up playing, for me, the only reason why I can see him being thrown in there and playing is because of his height and his physicality more so than Aurier's. But look, we need to deal with their main threat, so it will be Aurier with his pace. Moving into the middle. Now, look, you're going to get some people saying that we can afford to maybe rest Toby or Dyer here in this game. Me personally, the whole back line has been working out so well. I wouldn't change the partnership in the middle of Toby and Dyer. So for me, on the right hand side, it's going to be Toby. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, no, I'm exactly the same. We were talking in our kind of preview to this game that we think Benteke could cause us a lot of problems, and there's no better men to contend to deal with that than Toby and Dyer at the back as well. I think later on in the game, if we're defending a lead or whatever, I think we may see a forward player brought off for Robben or Tanganga, but yeah. I can't see either of them starting the game. So I think it will be Toby and Dyer from the first minute.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be a big call to start Robben or Tanganga up against Benteke, especially since he's starting to score goals now again, and just because of his physicality. So for me, I agree with you. If we do see one of them, it'll be off the bench to show it up and see the game out. So beside Toby, obviously, we're going to go with Dyer. Look, he deserves to be in there. He's another player. He's had a great campaign, and no one's seen it coming really. So for me, he deserves to be in there. And it's going to be very interesting to see him up against Benteke, because interestingly enough, actually, I started rewatching the documentary, and there was on the first episode, one of the coaches in with Mourinho, and he was saying that the players in the squad were saying he's the only one that's willing to fight. Do you know what I mean? He's the only one that's willing to get aggressive and fight with other team players and all. So you need him in there, and Palace is a derby game as well, so he's going to be crucial in this game, getting the lads G'd up.
Yeah, hopefully, look, for me, it is just dealing with Benteke. I think it would be a massive one. But yeah, look, he seems to be an important player in the dressing room, so that's always helpful out on the pitch.
Yeah, 100%. Moving into left back, it's going to be Reguilon, providing that he hasn't picked up any niggles or anything. Look, the guy has been phenomenal since he came in. He's given us a total different outlet. We can now play out from the back, and also he's well able to take the ball on himself and skin a player. He done a nice nutmeg against Chelsea there as well. The guy is completely transformed how we play out from the back now. What do you think, Matty, or do you think we might play Ben Davies?
No, I think it's the same. I was really surprised to see Reguilon start against Antwerp on Thursday. I really wasn't expecting that at all. But it's the fact that he came off early and Ben Davies played the full 90, I think goes to show Reguilón is going to be starting this one. And even aside from that, if it's just pick between the two of them with no game midweek or whatever, Reguilón always gets the nod ahead of Davies. And, again, with the pace Palace having the wings, Reguilón is definitely a better player to have there. And going forward as well, he's definitely has a better cross than Ben Davies. So I think he ticks every box and always gets a nod over Davies for me.
Yeah. Look, for me, the reason why he played against Antwerp, I think Mourinho was just trying to set it up to keep the first half tight, make sure they offer nothing, don't give them a sniff, and then basically break their confidence and then go at them in the second half. So I think that's why you probably did see him play against Antwerp, just purely to shore it up for the first half. Because, look, Mourinho did want to win, and I think maybe he thought that was the best option. And no doubt Reguilón knew he was going to come off earlier stage. Jose had that discussion. And like you said, we need his pace dealing with the tricky wingers they have as well. So he's a shoe-in to start. Now we'll move into the holding role, holding midfield role. It's the destroyer. It's the tank. It's Emile Pierre Brickhouse Højbjerg. The guy's just a legend. I love him. He's future Tottenham captain. If not, you could already probably make him a vice captain. The guy's immense. He's going to clean up all day, and he's going to absolutely eat McCarthy and Milivojevic in there.
Yeah, definitely. He's, for me, the first name on the team sheet, even ahead of the likes of Kane and Son, because he's just so important to the way we play. And again, as we were speaking about Palace's weak midfield, he could definitely be a player that would swing the game in our favour. So, as is the case in every single game, Højbjerg 100% starts in the holding role.
Yeah, 100%. The guy's been immense since we signed him. And interestingly enough, actually, if you go back and look at some of the reactions on some of the fan channels, a lot of people weren't really happy with the signing, which I was surprised about, because I was very happy with the signing. And those who kind of, I suppose, not only know Tottenham, but know a lot about football and watch a lot of different leagues, you would have remembered this guy at Bayern Munich. He's a player they had high hopes for at the time. He can play ball. He's a Champions League winner and he's a Bundesliga winner. So were you surprised about the reaction when we signed this guy?
I wasn't, because look, personally, again, I love the signing. I know what Pep Guardiola thought of him back in his days in Germany. He's an outstanding player. I know how important he was to Southampton and them turning around their season last year after that 9-0 defeat to Leicester. But a lot of people judge signings on the name or the price tag or where you're getting him from. So from that point of view, I understood, but I knew why some fans were disappointed with the signing. But anyone who knows football or who has seen him play in the past would have been delighted to get him in for essentially £3 million and Kyle Walker-Peters. Yeah,
it's a stroke of genius by Levy, by Marino, everyone involved in the deal. It's a great deal, and it's been repaid tenfold already, as far as I'm concerned. Now, moving on to the two lads that would probably play in beside him. On the right hand side, it's obviously Moussa Sissoko. For me, the guy has to play. He's going to be crucial to deal with the likes of Zaha, Eze in there. And we just need his work rate, his willingness to get around, make tackles, and turn the ball over and win it back, similar to Højbjerg, plus double up with Aurier and give him a handout. So for me, it has to be Sissoko in there all day long. It's a role I know the likes of me, you, Charlie and all have pinpointed what he adds to the team, and we've let the fans know what sort of role he does play. So look, there'll be a lot of people are going to call for Lo Celso. And yeah, look, he's on form, but for me, it has to be Sissoko in there for this game.
Yeah, no, I'm the exact same. He's just so crucial out on that side. And look, as much praise as we can give to Serge Aurier this season, a lot of it does come from Sissoko dropping out into these areas and helping him. When you have the fullbacks bombing on and the doubling up on wingers or whatever, he's been absolutely crucial to us this season, and he's progressed so much as a footballer. Even from his first season to second, he was a lot better. But since then, he's continued to get better, and he's a really important player for us right now. Yeah,
he's huge. And look, as well, Mourinho simplified his role. He's basically sent him out there, stick on the right-hand side of the pitch, double up with Aurier, win as much ball back as you can, and when you get the ball, just give the simple pass. Your job is done. So it suits him down to the ground. Now, on the other side, it's a toss-up between Lo Celso and Ndombele. But the fact that Ndombele missed the Derby game, he didn't play during he only came on for a cameo during the week. I think that's indication that he will start today against Palace. And another player again, that Milivojevic and McCarthy, they're going to have serious problems with this guy. He's eating the best midfields, let alone these guys.
Yeah, I think Lo Celso definitely made a good show for himself for that performance against Antwerp on Thursday. Mourinho even said it after the game. He said Lo Celso showed us today with that performance that he is back. So I think he's in more contention to get in there ahead of Ndombele than he has been in recent weeks. But I think he's just Tanguy has been too crucial for us. He's, as I was saying, we could play a similar way to the way we played against Burnley, and it wasn't Ndombele who changed that game. So I think he's just ahead of Lo Celso at the moment, unfortunately. He's really doing well going back in that number 10 role. And yeah, again, I can't see Lo Celso starting ahead of him.
Yeah, it'd be a big call by Jose. I'd be very surprised. And for me, if he takes Ndombele out there, he's going to take away from the physicality in midfield, in my opinion. And it's just, look, I think you might actually see Lo Celso against Liverpool. I just don't think you're going to see him against Palace. But if you do, we'll move on to the next position. Would you play him on the right-hand side?
Lo Celso?
After his performance in the Europa League. Do you think that's a position we could try and use him?
I suppose, do you know what? That's actually a really good point because, I've been talking, as you were saying, a lot about tactics this season, and the main role our right winger has is to come in narrow and create the space on the outer side for our fullback to bomb on.
Yeah.
So now that you make the point, it's definitely a possibility for Lo Celso to go in there because our right winger doesn't exactly need pace. He just needs to be left-footed, or preferably left-footed, so he can cut in and pick a few passes or maybe even go for goal from there, which I think is why Gareth Bale does play sometimes out on that side in the Premier League. But that's actually a really good point. I think I haven't thought of it before, but definitely there's an option there for Lo Celso to go out on that right-hand side.
Yeah, you summed it up perfectly. Like you said, like even last year, now the formation was a lot more lopsided last year, and it was a lot more easier to tell what Mourinho was doing with the right-hand side. Purely because he just didn't trust Aurier defensively, in my opinion. So you've seen him playing so high. But like you said, the right winger in a Mourinho team, they come in narrow and they like to create the space for the overlap for whoever plays right back to get up beside him. So look, it is an area that Mourinho could definitely use to try and make it work. It'd be an interesting one, in my opinion. But if we're going on what we've seen recently, it probably will be Bergwijn.
Yeah.
Bit harsh on Lucas, but it probably will be Bergwijn.
Yeah, I agree. After saying all that, definitely Bergwijn is probably the number one option there. I think he's just still ahead of Lucas in the pecking order. It's just for end product, really. I think Lucas, he runs around a lot, he gets involved a lot, but it often comes to nothing. Whereas Bergwijn, every now and then he'll get that goal, he'll get that assist. So I think Bergwijn will definitely be a better option. I know, as we were saying, Van Aanholt bombing forward, Bergwijn could be a good player there to exploit that space left in behind. Yeah,
and hopefully with Lamela coming back fit, that might actually just give him maybe the kick up the arse he needs.
Yeah.
Because for me, look, he would be my preferred option over Lucas, and I think Bergwijn knows that as well, that he would be the preferred option over Lucas. But Lamela thrown in the mix, and because Mourinho likes Lamela, that's not a given for Bergwijn, and he doesn't want to end up in the position he was at the start of the season, coming off the bench. So look, he really does need to grab his opportunity against Palace, in my opinion, because if not, I honestly would like to see Lo Celso give him a shot there. I really would. I honestly think it's something we could work, and we'll add another dimension to our attack. Do you know what I mean? And I honestly think it could work. And if Jose Mourinho does end up trying it, well, you've heard it here first, and you know where it came from. He's watching me.
Oh, he definitely
is. Yeah. We'll move over onto the left-hand side. It's the Korean king, Sonny. The guy's just banging in goals for fun. His goal against Arsenal, you're going to see that for years to come. What a strike! Even Nketiah, actually, if you've seen the video, even he was about to jump out his chair when it went in. He was loving it. Look, the guy eats fullbacks week in, week out for a living, and he's a player that every Spurs fan adores. So he's showing, and like along with Højbjerg and the likes of Toby and Kane, another player first name on the team sheet picks himself.
Yeah, definitely. And he's on the form of his life this season. Already has 10 goals in the league, only one behind Calvert-Lewin. He's grabbing a couple of assists, and the dynamic duo there, him and Kane, you can never break them apart. I was very surprised to see them come on together against Antwerp, but I think it just goes to show how much Mourinho values them together that he had to put them both on in the same minute as well. And yeah, definitely, Heung-min Son starts out there on the left. Yeah,
look, Mourinho knows when he plays these two guys, he's going to get a goal. And more than often or not, it's one of them assisting the other. But look, for me, just on Son, what makes him so hard to read is the fact that he can cut inside and shoot on his right foot. He can go outside you. He has no problem going to the byline, cutting inside. He's just so tricky. Do you know what I mean? So when you're a fullback, you really don't know what way he's going to go. It's near impossible to defend against him.
Yeah, he's one of the most two-footed players I've ever seen play football. Probably Santi Cazorla is up there. Is just that bit ahead of him. So you couldn't tell which foot was Santi Cazorla's better foot. But Son, I don't have the exact numbers, but I know that the kind of split of the goals he scored in the Premier League in terms of left foot, right foot header, it's so even. And if you're looking at the stats, it would be hard to tell if he's left or right footed. It's absolutely crazy to see a player who is as two-footed as he is. As you were saying, he can cut inside onto that right foot. He can go down the line onto his left foot. He can, whip one in behind the defence. But even as we were talking about in the watch-along for the Arsenal game on Sunday, Reguilon bombing down outside him makes it a whole lot harder for defenders to deal with, because you don't know, Son, of course, he can't play that ball down to Reguilon, who has one of the best crosses of fullbacks in the league. There's so many options with just those two players on the left outside. There's so many things that can happen, and it's near impossible for defenders to deal with.
Yeah, 100%. And as well, don't forget that goal against Burnley he scored where he ran it, where he bent nearly their whole team. You know what I mean? So he also has that individual brilliance in him.
He's for me one of the most technically gifted players in the Premier League. A lot of people will put him up there with the likes of Sadio Mane, Mohamed Salah, and I definitely will be one of those. He is one of the best players in the Premier League at the moment, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, 100%. And for me, probably one of the most underrated. I really don't think he's appreciated enough by anyone that doesn't support Tottenham. But look, we'll move on to Harry Kane up front. Obviously, it's going to be him. The guy's on electric form. Like I've said, he's what was it? It's 20 goals and 11 assists in 29 Premier League games under Jose. And look, there was a lot of talk saying, he's not going to score in a Jose team. Look, that one was answered by the end of last season, as far as I'm concerned, and even more answered this season. The guy just bangs in goals for a living, and I honestly think he for me, if I was him up top, I'd be more leaning on sticking on Cahill every time rather than Kouyaté. Because look, if he drops deep, Kane is not going to have the pace to drop deep with him. If Kane goes in behind him, he's going to outpace him. And look, Kane's not the quickest, but he will outpace Cahill. And he'll beat him in the air every time as well. He's just going to bully him.
Yeah, and I think Gary Cahill will be the biggest concern for Crystal Palace going into this game, because Jose Mourinho is going to target him, and he knows exactly what to do to drag other players out of position. So Cahill is kind of the key man at the back, and I think Harry Kane will be pivotal to exploiting that.
Yeah, and look, he loves these derby games as well, so he's going to be up for it, and hopefully he nicks a goal. Anyway, look, there's our predicted lineup. It's worth noting that this is also predicted before the press conference before this game. So look, hopefully we get it right. And so there's our predicted lineup. Now moving into predicted score, Matty. What score prediction are you going to go?
I'm going to go with a 2-1 to Spurs, because we're not going to play as defensively as we had in the past, and I think Crystal Palace do have some really, really good players in that team who could cause us problems at the back. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did nick one, but I think we're going to have too much. I think we're going to come away with the 3 points. So I'm going to stick with a 2-1 win for Spurs.
Yeah, look, I'm going to be sensible this week. You look back over the fixtures, it tends to be one goal that decides it. But for me, I'm going to go 2-0. Just looking at how many we've kept 8 clean sheets in 10 Premier League games against Palace. We've won 9 of them 10 games. They do find it hard to beat us. So for me, I'm going to go 2-0. I do think we'll keep a clean sheet. Look, we are going to have some shaky moments there. They will create a couple of chances. But I just back the boys. Back Lloris and goals. The whole back four, the 3 midfielders as well that add to the defensive side of the game. Even Harry Kane, actually the whole team. I back them for a clean sheet, and I'm going to go 2-0. I'm going to go with Kane, and I'm going to go with Son to score.
Yeah, I think I'll go the same, Kane and Son. Each assisting each other as well. That's the key part.
Yeah, that'd be nice to keep that little stack going as well. Who do you think's going to score for Palace?
I can see Zaha getting on the score sheet, and if not him, Christian Benteke, because I don't know if we saw Zaha's goal against West Brom last week, cutting in off the left-hand side, fantastically whipped it into the far corner, and Benteke just seemed to be a bit clever in his finishes, so I wouldn't be surprised if one of them do manage to bag one. Yeah,
look, you tend to be more right than me, so if anyone is thinking about putting a sneaky bet on, judging by our predictions, I'd put it more on Matty's than mine. But look, Matty,
I don't take any responsibility.
Thanks again again for giving your time up. The Harris Army out there appreciate it. I appreciate it. And I've really enjoyed it today, so thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, David. As I said, I always love coming on here chatting with you, so I appreciate it.
No problem at all. Also, make sure you get over and check out Matty Hayes' Tottenham blogs. Make sure you subscribe and hit that like button. Give the guy your support. He's even better than what I am. So if you haven't supported him, get over there. And also, make sure you give this video a like. And also subscribe to the channel. Show me your support. Like I said, big push to 500 for Christmas. So help me out and make my Christmas wish come true. And as always, in Jose we trust. Come on, you Spurs, and roll on, Palace. Let's go.